Hey everybody, Griffin Cooper here at Ablewaytech, and today I want to show you two ETFs that I really like to day trade, and let's just get right into it. So this is a snapshot of my recent trading, and it shows one of my favorite ETFs to day trade, and that's EWZ. EWZ is the Brazil ETF, and it moves around a lot intraday. It has big swings. You know, Brazil, it's its own country. It has its own currency, and it can often move sometimes correlated with the market or go in a completely different direction. So it's kind of an alternative to just kind of trading, you know, the broader market moves. So what we had here to start out with our typical setup, where this is our frog box here, which is the separation for intraday signal versus noise. So what I always look for is when we have this down move here, I want to see at least one frog box. And so here it started to move down out of, we kind of had this little consolidation zone here. And when it broke out downwards, it came all the way down to this level, and then it stopped right here, started to reverse, and that's what created this low risk idea, right? Because we had, as it came up, we saw that by the time it got down to here, I knew that would be where my stop was. And then we see that we had 1, 2, 3, almost 4 possible reward units based on our risk to the upside. So when it got here, and we had this is our linear regression 10 period, this color-coded line. So when it crossed here, where it crossed our Bollinger Band here, we got in right here. When it made a breakout, that's what this green circle is for, where we got long. Our stop was down here. I use a trailing stop, so I ended up getting long about here, and then as it came up a couple ticks and reversed right away, we were stopped out of the trade very quickly in a couple minutes, which is shown by the red circle here. And what's really nice about this pattern, this setup here, this harsh move down, is that we know that we can then either play, when it turns around here and crosses, this is a 10 period, the orange line. We call that the dragon because it kind of follows price in a smoother way, as you can see, and that's a 10 period Bollinger Band plus or minus half a standard deviation. So when our linear regression line crosses that dragon, that's when we know to enter. And we can play this move then up to here. That's what this purple line was, where my target was. And if it fails, like it did here, where it fails fast, then we know that there's still somebody trying to sell this thing. And this move, that was the move down, we can then measure that down and say there could easily be another move down like that. So that's what this was my target to the downside, this purple horizontal line. So we got short when it violated here. It was a little bit of a bad fill. I wanted to get short about right here, and it just moved quickly. These are 3-minute bars, so I ended up getting short about right here, and it quickly failed. And again, we were just using this trail stop, same size that we used to that upside. I used that same standard risk box to the downside, so it moved down 1, about 2.5 risk boxes, and I was trailing it like that. So as it pulled back, I just got an exit here, automatic exit. So on the first trade, we had minus 0.87. That's a reward to risk. So if I'm risking 1, then I lost about 0.87 of what I was risking. So not a full 1R loss, so that's always good. I try to keep my losses always limited to minus 1R and then be open to bigger gains. And here we had, after that pullback, we got out here for plus 2.12 reward to risk. So at the end of the day, we had 1.25, which means what we were risking was 1, and we ended up getting 1.25 in the bank in about an hour and a half. These blue vertical lines, as I mark those on my chart for when I start trading. I started right about 8:30. Everything was in a free fall yesterday. The market was just completely selling off. I just happened to look at EWZ and notice this had made this large move down. I just do first come, first serve. This was the first pattern that showed, so I took it. And again, the best part of this is that if this doesn't work to the upside, we take the downside. We call this a collapsing dragon. You see this. Let's see if I can do it with a little line here, or pen feature. You see you get this harsh move down, and then this move down, then it comes up, and then this little wiggle right here, this little wiggle of the RL10 and the dragon, when it breaks here, that's an automatic short because someone's still pounding this. And you can see those moves down are really fast and furious. You know, often when it moves up, it'll kind of do it like this, you know, very slowly and cautiously. But then these moves down are just big and strong. All right, so here's another one of my favorite ETFs to day trade, and that is EWW. EWW is the Mexico ETF, and it has a lot of those same characteristics as Brazil EWZ, basically that it's its own country. It can move different from the market, sometimes correlated, sometimes not, but most of all, it's got big intraday swings, and that's what we want when we're day trading, right? We want tradable moves. We want to find the mover. So again, it was that same setup. This is the same day, 118, and we had that same setup looking for this frog box move down. The frog box is again our kind of intraday measurement of signal versus noise. So we know when we see this move down from this last high that we have this non-noise move, that it's an unambiguous move. So we had this large move down, and that created the tradable idea again, where we were looking at here, if this was our risk, or if the price comes up and crosses this Bollinger Band, we have at least 2 to 1. That's what I always want to see, is 2 to 1 to the top of this dragon, the Bollinger Band 10 here. And you can see here the purple horizontal line was my target. And then what I did is I measured this and said, well, if it moved down here and then fails, it could easily move down that far again. So we had this move down. It started to reverse, put in this temporary bottom here, right? Started to come up and cross the Bollinger Band, and that was when we bought it. You can see also that our PSAR, our parabolic stop and reverse, is tuned to the RL10 here. So when this RL10 crosses over the PSAR, it flips to the same place. It flips right here to where that RL10 bottom was. Now the RL10 is great because we call that the real price, the idea that you know, when you have all these price bars going up and down, it can sometimes be a little distracting. It can be noisy. And so by using this linear regression 10, it's kind of the smooth price, and it's easier to see it because it just becomes this straight line where you can kind of really easily read the trends. You know, you can see this instead of getting too distracted by each little bar. So again, we had this move down. It came up through our dragon, the PSAR cross, so we bought it here at the green circle for our supported spring crossing pattern. Our stop was down at that PSAR flip point, which corresponds to this RL10 low. And I was playing this move of 2 to the upside. This one also went up just barely, one bar, or not even, I don't think. It just failed immediately, actually. And let's zoom in a little bit more on this bad boy. So we had this entry here, long entry, failed immediately, got stopped out here. That was an automatic stop and reverse. Why? Because we had this big move to the upside, big move to the downside, and if we just copy and paste it, basically say that that could be the same size of the next move, then we know that if this fails, this is the pattern we really want, this collapsing dragon, that if it falls through this point, that's an automatic short. That's called the collapsing dragon, as this dragon rolls over and hits there. So this was a short here, went sideways for just a little bit, and then started to move down, consolidated. Probably could have got a second position here if we were scaling in. I don't, so just moved down, and you can see it moved right to where that downside target point was. So we moved a little bit past it. We got that pullback. We were again just still trailing with a risk box, got out there. So we had -1 on the first trade, then plus 2.6. And this is a good example of what I'm always trying to do. I'm always trying to limit my losses to -1 or less. That's a function of my risk. So I risked 1, lost it, risked 1 again and got 2.6. So it ended the day with plus 1.6R plus the profits over in EWZ in Brazil for about, I think, 2.8 or so for the day. So a pretty good day trading. I'll take that any day for a couple hours work. All right, so I hope that was helpful. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more live trading examples and trading lessons posted each week, and check out Ablewaytech.com for more information about our trading courses available. Thanks for watching.